All right, good afternoon, everyone. It is 1 p.m. on Thursday, April 20th, 2023, and I'd like to welcome you to today's Blitz session covering Dotloop 2.0 with Tim Vohar. Thank you all for being here. As always, for anyone watching this in the future, please be aware that some of this information may have changed, so feel free to contact our training department with any questions. And lastly, as a reminder, this will be recorded, so for both buffering purposes and your privacy, you may want to turn your camera off. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your virtual hand or use the chat and we'll get them answered right away. And as always, with that said, I'd like to welcome Tim Vohar. Thank you for being back, Tim. It's all yours.
Thanks, Christian.
You got it.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Last Blitz of the week. Don't forget tomorrow live with Tim at 9 o'clock and Monday at 1 o'clock. And then we'll have one last couple of days of blitzes, Tuesday and Thursday. We're scaling back. Get ready for next week with the changeover official and Berkshire Hathaway coming in to do training. So thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm going to share my screen. First thing I want to show you is right now. Oops. Get this slid over a little bit. There we go. All right. What I show you is right now I have access to T Vohar at RW Town. I also have access to T Vohar at BHHS Town. Haley and I are going to be making a separate video to show you how to create this dynamic within the Google environment so that you can easily toggle back and forth between your two accounts. You will close out any of your existing contracts in your old account, whether it's a town BHHS town account or a Rosen Womble account. So those will be where you close out. Anything as of next Friday, new listings, new sales will go into your RW Town account. So we'll make a little video to show you how to set this up so you can toggle back and forth quickly and easily. As you can see, I'm right now in the RW Town. I'll click on this one and click on continue. I didn't have to type my password. I didn't have to do anything. It just brought me into my Norfolk account. So that's the Norfolk Dotloop. So let me switch over here to the training office. Right, and we're going to add a loop. Blueberry Street. All right. Continue. Select the loop template, and this is going to be a sales contract. And continue. Hit done. All right, so as this is 2.0, we are inside of our loop, and we are going to be working inside of this loop. I've had lots of questions about what if I use Instanet? Can I work in Instanet and then bring those documents into Dotloop? Absolutely. You can do it in a couple of different ways. So first, you could come over here and say, well, I want to add a folder. I want to just use a new folder. You click on the button, add folder, change it to Instanet or whatever you're going to call it. Is that not how you spell it? Yeah, I guess that's how you spell it. Instanet folder. Then you can either choose it from a template, which you don't have, or browse, which is most likely what's going to happen. Or, I'm sorry, browse, which you can get it off of your computer. Or what's most likely going to happen is your email. You click on email, click copy the clipboard. You can go into your email. And you can do a forward, paste, send. And when I refresh this screen here, refresh the screen, there is the scan from a Xerox multifunction printer. That would be, in essence, the offer. So I'll rename that to Blueberry Bonnet Offer, whatever I'm going to call it. Now it's renamed, and I have that document ready to go in that offer folder. Now, you will probably most likely still need these buyer counseling agency documents because you're going to need affiliated business arrangements, home warranty disclosures, realtors' roles, checklist if you need it, CDIF for consumer disclosure. So that'll be in a separate folder. You could also say not create this folder, add document, browse or email, and add that document right here. The other thing that you could do is if you created this folder and you put it here, you could actually come here. Oops. You come here, drop and drag that Blueberry Bonnet offer into this folder. You can also reorder this by hovering, dropping and dragging, moving those things around as you need. If your client wasn't getting a mortgage loan, they were paying cash, you could come over here to the end, click on archive, and then that won't be displayed for them to work through. You can also come here, say, I'm not going to need this because I've already got my Instanet offer. Let me rename that to offer created in Instanet. You could also say, well, I don't want to put that in the buyer counseling. I would rather just put that in the offer, drop it into the offer, because maybe you want to use some of these placeholders here that you still need, earnest money, copy of the listing, any of these D-Port disclosures. You just want to archive the purchase agreement. You come down here, archive the purchase agreement. Let's say you did this in there as well. Take that out. You had the broker's fee notice in there as well. So we'll archive that. And now you just have the documents that you need inside of Dotloop. Questions on bringing something into Dotloop that is not in Dotloop. So if you are working in an offer with an Instanet or your email and you need to get it into a loop, questions? No questions at all? Must be doing a really good job explaining things. I had some questions, so that's why I thought I would make sure I hit this off from the get-go. So this is your folder for buyers. You can add your people. You can come down here. You can add people. Always remember, don't add anybody to your team. Anybody that sees your team or is added to your team will see everything that you are doing in Dotloop, including any type of note you have in the notes section. Also, we have our tasks. In this case, it's templated to the top. I can load my template and let's go to agent, general sales task. Check on that. Turn in EMD. Yep, I did that on today, right? Is that today, 20? Yep, today. Sign to Bohar. Done, turned in. Send thank you note to the buyer. That was me. Done. Sign to Bohar. You can just go through the process. You need to set the dates. You say, oh, when's the appraisal? The appraisal is going to be specific date, and the appraisal is going to be on the 28th. Sign that to Tim Bohar. Now I'm going to get a reminder that I have an appraisal for 1234 Blueberry Street due on the 28th. Once I've done that, put a checkbox. It will mark off that I've done. Once I've done the inspection, closing, termite, boom, check them all off. You want to reorder these, you cannot reorder them. They're set like this. You can reorder documents, you can't reorder the tasks. You could also go in here and add a task if you wanted to. Add a task and a test. That will take it to the top. So any task you add will go up to the top automatically. If you don't like your task list on the top of your loop, you can take it here, click and move it to the bottom. Then you get your documents, your people, and your task lists here. You can also add another template. If you had a template, you could come here and put in Tim's training task list. So that's the second one. Click add. There's Tim's training task list. Questions? I see a hand. Lisa Hughes, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I've never used tasks before.
Okay.
And now that I may, who sees it?
Whoever has access to this loop will see the tasks. So in this case, the admin for Berkshire Hathaway would see the tasks. They're on my team. If I put in here add person, let's see, Giraffe's probably in here. Giraffe as the buyer. Person. See how Giraffe is here? It's not on my team. Giraffe will only see documents that I've shared. So if I put in here that offer incident, hit share. I'm gonna send that to Giraffe. Hit share. Done. You'll see there's a 2 right here next to the person. Everything else still has a 1. When I hover over it, it's shared with G, which is Giraffe and the admin. None of your tasks here would be shared with any person other than the admin for Berkshire Hathaway.
And those tasks are really just for the realtors to keep track of our tasks. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but
No, sure.
Right.
There's two things here. There's also admin tasks in here. These are not for you all to use. These are for the admins. So the admins will be coming in here and using task lists. So there'll be admin task controls that they'll be using. So admin closing control task, and here's the admin closing controls. And they'll be in your loop too. The admin will be able to see them. You'll be able to see them. Am I answering your question, or is there something
Yeah, you're good.
additional?
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you.
Sure. Oh, no problem. Want to make sure you get your questions answered. Anyone else? Question? Karen, go ahead.
I have 2 questions. The first is, how will we access the new BHHS RW Town Dotloop platform? Will we get a separate email with an invitation to activate it?
Yes. Yep, that'll
And
come out that'll come out sometime on the 27th and 28th. Probably at like
Okay.
3 o'clock, probably like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So it'll be in your email box.
Got it. The second question is, if we're working with buyers who are currently under a Rosenwalbel buyer agency agreement, do we keep writing offers on new homes that they see under our Rosenwalbel Dotloop, or do we have to create new buyer agency agreements with BHHS RW Town?
I think the answer to your question is no and no. So let me see if I can answer your question. If you have a buyer representation contract with either Rosenwalbel or Town Realty, those are valid without having to write new ones. And you will write all of your new contracts, listings, and sales in RW Town. So I think I answered your question right, no and no. No, you do not write contracts for Rosenwalbel once the merger happens. And no, you don't have to get new paperwork signed. Did I answer it right?
You did, thank you.
Okay. Now, I will give you a heads up that if you have a Dotloop for a buyer that does not have a ratified contract, you will want to make a note and email. It'll be part of your conversation that you're getting. We'll probably have you email those to a central point so that Dotloop can transfer those buyer contracts into a new loop for you in the RW Town Dotloop. All of your listings will be moved from RW or from Rosenwalbel or Town Realty to RW Town. Any closings will stay in your existing loops. Karen.
Can we just create a PDF of each of those buyer documents and then just manually upload them to a new loop in the Berkshire Hathaway platform?
Sure. Yeah, you could do that if you wanted to do that. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're here to make it easy, not hard. So if that's easier for you, then by all means, you'll be able to do that for sure. Lisa.
I was actually wanting to know with the Dotloop 2.0 how I have a client who we wrote an offer and we didn't get it. And then we wrote another one and we didn't get it. And so I have copied all the buyer agency agreement documents and of course I saved them as PDFs and then I uploaded them again. I was wondering if there was a shortcut so that I wasn't having to do that every single time we create a new loop. So, okay.
So we're going to add a loop and we'll call this John and Jane Doe. And we're doing a buyer, you said. So we'll do a sales contract, hit continue. Done. All right, now I'm going to go back to my loops and I'm going to go to 1234 Blueberry Street. And we're going to presume that all of these are signed, right? This is what we're talking about. Is this generally what you're asking?
Yes, they're all signed.
Okay, we're going to check on that. We're going to make a copy as .loop documents to the loop. And in this case, I can see it, but if I had to search, I could type up here, see John and Jane Doe, click there. I'm gonna have to hover, I'm gonna have to scroll down a little bit because they're you see they're drop down, so I have to scroll. I can say, put them in the buyer counseling documents, click copy, click OK. Go back to loops, John and Jane Doe. And now you can see I have two sets of the documents in here. So presumably one of them would have been signed, right? So I could just go over here to the ones that weren't signed and click archive. And now I have my signed documents in John and Jane Doe's loop.
So maybe we should go ahead. We should do that now.
You can't do that because you can't cross pollinate the two loops.
Right. I'm just saying I just lost an offer and I have a, a loop that isn't going to go anywhere. So maybe I should take my client's information and start a new loop as a new buyer without anything attached to it. And then it will make it easier when we become, we merge.
Oh yeah, I would, yeah, from that standpoint, yeah, I would create, you could get a new loop set up and then you could transfer it. Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Now there's a lot of you that have .loop questions, so let's just take whatever questions you might have and then I can share anything additional from there. And I'm going to go back out of loops and I'm going to create a new loop. We're going to create a listing this time. Going to view the loop. I'm going to check this box here. I'm going to click on open. The reason I checked that box right there and clicked on open is because I want all these documents to open, so I can come in here and I can choose the seller, add person, add giraffe, to the seller, add person. Choose the training office as the listing agent. And then I can come in here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, Blueberry. And if I was finding Blueberry, I could choose that and it would autofill. But because I want to demonstrate this, I'm actually typing this in. So it's not this is extra work that I'm doing for demonstration purposes. This is not extra work for you to do as an agent. This is just because I want to show you that these fields, as I type them in, When I click autofill, this has all the information in yellow. Just scrolling down. G, sign here. GG, sign here. So there was a lot of concern or questions with people saying they had to go in and add each document. If you do all the documents at one time, when you open them, if you get to this screen and there's no button that says autofill, you can come right here to the top, click autofill, then put in that person, put in all this information. See all this information I put in there didn't disappear because I didn't save anything. It's saved in this system. So if I click autofill again, it pops right back in for you. So there's a lot of question about redundant typing, and you should really not have any redundant typing in the system. Once you put an address in, it should lock and hold pretty much the entire time, whatever your typing is. Click yes this time. Check the box, click open. Now all those yellow fields will have turned to white because it's thinking I'm done and I've already checked those fields. And you can see all those fields are still filled in. So we get through the data input. You see all those fields are still filled in for us. That can be filled in. Questions? Any questions? Any base questions anybody would like to ask? Did anybody see, has everybody seen? I'm going to show you. So send earnest request. Those of you that are doing a buyer and you're trying to get EMD, you're going to click on send earnest. Make sure you read it, hit continue. It's going to take you to a new window. I'm going to type in my email address. Can y'all see the earnest screen?
Yes.
Great. Check my email here real quick. Each time you go to Earnest, you're going to get a code to do this. This is the part of the security. There's no saved information. Yes, I have their email and phone number. Continue. Who's paying? Right. So this is going to be their information, their email address, their mobile. How much is the amount? It's got the street address already in it. It's got the city and the state already in it. Who's the escrow holder? So I'm going to search for escrow holder because I know my name. There I am. Choose the escrow holder. The above listed escrow holder is the one on the purchase contract. Yes. Now, they're talking about BHHS Town Realty, not necessarily VOHAR. They're just saying that this is the escrow holder. This VOHAR is simply a place to find who I am. This also says here, fully executed contract. And then I can request money, and that's going to send an email to myself and to Owen, as I'm the requester, and Owen is getting this email from this, in essence, test account. So I'm not going to do that, but I'll stay on the screen for a real quick second if anybody has any questions. No questions? This is going to replace any of you that were doing wires. This is what will replace wires. There won't be any wires for commissions. It will now be all through Earnest. All right, questions? All right, last thing on this then will be the submit for review. Click on submit for review. These will all be built already. So if you're doing listing docs, it will go to the listing portal. If you're doing offer docs, it'll go to the sales listing sold portal. And if you're doing a home inspection folder, you're going to have to check listing and sales. But the home inspection folder is really intended for you to put the home inspection report and not any documents, so that you don't send it to the manager, because we don't need to review the home inspection. We just need to have the PICA, PICRA, etc. All right, last chance for questions.